What's going on, everybody? Really excited to be speaking again to y'all on the fruits of the Spirit. Really sorry that I have not gotten a video to y'all sooner. I have been very busy with being home from college and school, exams, coming back, getting back into the groove of things. But I'm really excited to be back with y'all. Today, we will be talking about the fruit of the Spirit, gentleness. Gentleness in ourselves, how we share the gospel, but also how practicing gentleness can help us to crucify sins. First scripture that I want to bring up today is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. I didn't mark my pages, so bear with me here. Hope it doesn't take me too long. It shouldn't. So Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. And it says, my version says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Some versions say, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So, why would the writer of this Proverbs say that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger? Why would he be telling us that, hey, listen, when you're gentle and talking with someone, it actually turns away their wrath towards you? But hey, when you're angry with someone and you are being harsh and using harsh words towards someone when you're talking to them or talking about them or talking about someone else, it actually stirs up anger. So one thing that I really want to, before I get into that, So before I get into that, I want to now go to Ephesians chapter 4. I want to go to verse number 2. Ephesians chapter 4, and I'm actually going to be reading verses 1 and 2, but I want to focus on verse 2. I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. That verse 2 is what I really want to focus on here. With all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love. Now, we've seen here in Proverbs, it talked about being gentle and soft, and when you're talking with someone, that way they don't stir up strife and anger against you. But here we now see Paul commanding us to be humble and gentle and patient with one another, bearing with one another in love. Right, so we see in two different accounts here. I don't have very many verses for today's message, but it's for a reason, I promise. So we see in two different accounts here that we are being commanded to A, be gentle with other people in how we talk, and B, be gentle in how we act. And I think that is very, very important, and I think that there is a reason for that. My next verse that I want to go to is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. 1 Peter 3:15, and it says, and I'm going to be reading verses 14 and 15 for context. But even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you will be blessed. Have no fear of them, nor be troubled, but in your hearts honor Christ. The Lord is holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is within you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect. I think there's a very important reason that we are being told over and over again, be gentle, be respectful, be humble, be soft, answer softly, don't answer harshly. I think there's a reason for that. And the reason I think that is because there is two ways that you share the gospel. Number one, you share the gospel with your words. You actively telling someone about the gospel. You walking up and you explaining the gospel to that person. I think that's the first way. But I think the second way that you share the gospel is through your actions. I think that a lot of time, non-believers will actually look at Christians and they will not judge whether or not they think Christianity is actually being lived out in their life by what they say, but what they do. I think that the do part is something that gets left out oftentimes. I've made a video on the difference between works versus faith. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go and look it up now. It's on my page. But because it is not works that gets you into heaven, it is faith. You are saved by faith. You get into heaven by faith, but you are known by your works, right? So since there is two ways to share the gospel, why is gentleness so important in this? We see in Proverbs, it talks about a soft answer, a gentle answer. When I'm sharing the gospel with someone, when I'm trying to evangelize to someone, it is very important. It is very, very important that I do it with gentleness and respect. And the why is because that no one is going to care what I have to say if I look like a stuck-up, prideful little brat telling them that they're wrong. No one is going to care what you have to say if you do not tell other people about Jesus gently. You've got to understand what you're telling people. Like to an atheist, you're telling them, listen, everything that you believe is 100% wrong. It is, but this is what you're telling somebody. Imagine this getting told to you. You have no knowledge of Jesus, or you have knowledge of Jesus and just don't choose to believe it, and someone comes up to you telling you that everything that you believe is wrong. I mean, I would be shocked. Really and truthfully, I would be shocked if someone came up to me right now and told me that. Because I would tell them, no, I know what I believe. And they think that that is what they believe. They think that that is what they believe is correct, right? They have been taught, they have learned, they have done their own research probably even, and come to the conclusion, or by default have come to the conclusion that whatever they believe is correct. You've got to understand that when you're sharing the gospel with people. If I go up to somebody and I just come at them harshly, you're going to hell, you're going to burn in hell, I'm not going to get the same response as, hey man, how you doing? How are you? Hey, can I tell you about this man that changed my life? Can I tell you about this man named Jesus? Do you mind if I sit down? Do you mind if I pray for you? Hey man, I really feel like I'm being led to pray for you right now. See the difference there? There's a difference between hellfire and brimstone, and I do think sometimes that probably has its place. But a lot of times, I would say that gentleness and respect is the best way to actively, audibly share the gospel with someone. But then secondly, which we cannot forget about, our works. Our works are so important, right? When someone looks, and I'm kind of going off topic, but not really, kind of staying on topic, but I'm just going on a tangent right now. But when someone looks at a tree, when they see a tree, and we see this with Jesus and the fig tree, right? When he curses the fig tree. So we see that Jesus is walking down the road. He just gets done. I believe he was in the temple. I'm not really sure. This is, like I said, this is a tangent here. But Jesus is walking down the road and he sees a tree. And he sees the fig tree and he's hungry. And he looks at the fig tree and it's big and it's beautiful and it's got leaves and it looks like, man, he is just doing everything right. But upon closer inspection, the tree has no fruit. Upon closer inspection, the tree has no fruit. When people get to know you, when people get past that layer or that wall that you put up of Christianity, when people really get to know you, what fruit do they see, or do they see any fruit? When people really get to know you, do they see the fruit of Christ? Okay. How you act is so important. If Jesus Christ commands you to be gentle with others, if Jesus Christ was gentle to the tax collectors, the prostitutes, the demon-possessed, if Jesus Christ was gentle with these people, don't you think that should be enough reason for you to be gentle with others also? Lose your pride. Lose your pride. I promise you, you're not as good as you think you are. Drop the pride. And I'm not just preaching to you, I'm preaching to myself also. A lot of times I will get caught up in being prideful in what the Lord has done in my life, and I kind of have to get checked, and the Lord will check me. And I am very grateful that he does. The Lord will check me. Get rid of your pride. Be kind. It doesn't take much. It really does not take much to be kind to someone. Be kind. Be gentle. Be gentle with that person. Be gentle in the way that you act. No reason to be saying those kinds of jokes or making fun of that person or rage baiting that person. There's no need for it. There's no call for it. Be gentle, because people are watching and they're seeing if there's fruit in your life. So now on to some sins that are crucified by gentleness. And honestly, I kind of struggled with this. I kind of struggled trying to come up with sins that were really crucified, that I could actively see were crucified by gentleness. But I have two. I have two sins that I really do believe are crucified by gentleness. Number one, anger. And this is the note that I have wrote down next to it when I was making this. This is what I thought. You can't have anger when sharing the gospel if you are doing it gently. I've had instances here at State where I have not shared the gospel like I should have. I had someone come up to me and tell me a false version of the gospel, and they told me something that I knew was wrong. And they had a misinterpretation of the gospel, but because they wanted to argue with me about it and didn't just openly accept that what I was telling them was correct, how dare they, right? I did not handle it the way that I should have. And I honestly regret it. I wonder, if I'd have gone back, if I could go back now and I handled it gently, and I handled them gently, and I wasn't quite so harsh, and I wasn't quite so, not mean, but, if I just wasn't so harsh with it, I wonder if I would have got through to them a little bit better. Anger, and not even just anger, man, pride. When you being gentle to someone makes you drop a lot of pride. You being gentle to that person, that special needs person, you going out of your way to make sure they feel welcomed. That person with a disability, when you go out of your way to make sure that they feel welcome, when you treat them with gentleness and respect that they deserve because they are human beings also, when you do that, it pleases the Lord. It pleases the Lord. And not only does it please the Lord, but it also puts your pride to the side. Put your pride to the side. Second one, so I actually just came up with that one off rip. The second one that I actually had, so now third, is impatience. The note that I had wrote down with it was, you are able to have patience with people when you are sharing the gospel, when you are presenting the gospel. Sorry, I can't read my hand right. When you are presenting the gospel gently. I think that gentleness is something that can oftentimes go unheard or unseen very, very, very easily within the church. I think that gentleness is something that we can all strive to have. I think that gentleness is something that we all can strive to want more of, want to be more gentle with people, want to share the gospel gently or with people, want to live a life like Paul talks about in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. He says, walk in a manner worthy of the calling in which you were called. Walk in a manner worthy. Y'all, thank you so much for this episode and watching this episode on gentleness. It was not one of my longer videos, I will say. This was a little bit shorter, but I really do feel like the Lord had a lot to say in this. And I think that this a little bit shorter message really packed a punch, and I think that the Lord is really going to use this. Once again, if you have any thoughts, any concerns, any questions, please leave a comment down below. Please comment down below. I will love to talk to you about what is being said, whether you have an issue or a concern or a question or an encouragement. I would really love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for watching this video. And the next one is going to be the last one. I don't know when I'm going to get this out. I have a very busy speaking schedule coming up. I have a few speaking arrangements that I believe will be taking up a lot of my time, but I don't know when I will be able to get the last one out. Self-control is the last really